The prospect of a rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao has reignited discussions within the boxing community, fueled by a recent encounter that stirred up old rivalries. The two boxing legends crossed paths at an airport, and what transpired was a tense moment that quickly spread across social media, amplifying speculation about a second fight. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing about whether this could lead to a legitimate bout or merely an exhibition, with opinions sharply divided on the outcome and the motivations behind such a matchup. The 2015 fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao, billed as the fight of the century, left many fans dissatisfied due to its lack of action and Mayweather's defensive masterclass, which secured him a unanimous decision victory. Now, years later, the question looms: could a rematch deliver a different result, or would it simply reinforce Mayweather's dominance? The encounter at the airport was not just a chance meeting, it was a spark that reignited tensions that have simmered since their first fight. Footage of the standoff circulated rapidly online, showing a heated exchange that suggested unresolved issues between the two. This incident has only intensified calls for a rematch, with Pacquiao's camp actively pushing for it while Mayweather remains elusive in his public statements. The Filipino boxing icon, now 46, has made it clear he's ready to step into the ring again, while Mayweather, who has leaned toward exhibitions in recent years, has yet to commit to a professional fight. The contrast in their approaches, Pacquiao's insistence on a sanctioned bout versus Mayweather's apparent preference for less risky, high-reward exhibitions, has become a central point of contention in the ongoing narrative. Pacquiao's promoter, Sean Gibbons of MP Promotions, has been vocal about his fighter's readiness. In an interview with Sky Sports, Gibbons emphasized that Pacquiao is in top form and fully prepared to face Mayweather again. He pointed to Pacquiao's recent performance against Mario Barrios as evidence of his enduring skill, despite the controversial draw that left many in the boxing world divided. Gibbons argued that Pacquiao deserved the win, citing his activity and aggression in the ring. This sentiment was echoed by Teofimo Lopez, a prominent figure in boxing, who told Fight Hype that he scored the fight heavily in Pacquiao's favor, praising his volume, accuracy, and energy at such an advanced age. Lopez went further, urging Pacquiao to bypass a rematch with Barrios and aim for a bigger target, Mayweather. He believes Pacquiao still possesses the tools to reverse the outcome of their 2015 encounter, a view that reflects the optimism of Pacquiao's supporters. The Barrios fight itself has become a talking point in assessing Pacquiao's current form. While some, like Lopez, felt Pacquiao dominated, others, including respected analyst Teddy Atlas, offered a more measured take. Atlas, speaking on his podcast, acknowledged Pacquiao's strong moments, particularly in the later rounds, but noted signs of aging in the early stages, such as moments where his legs appeared less steady. Atlas didn't see the fight as a robbery, describing it as a close contest that could have gone either way. This perspective highlights the challenges Pacquiao faces at this stage of his career, even as he continues to compete at a high level. His ability to carry power across multiple weight classes, from his days as a flyweight to his current welterweight bouts, remains a testament to his remarkable career, but questions about his age and physical condition persist. On the other side, Mayweather's camp has been less forthcoming. Floyd, known for his calculated approach both in and out of the ring, has not directly addressed the calls for a rematch. His silence has only fueled speculation, with some interpreting it as a strategic move to keep the hype alive without committing. Sources close to both fighters suggest that informal talks are underway, but the two sides appear to have different visions for the fight. Pacquiao has been adamant that he wants a legitimate, sanctioned bout, dismissing the idea of an exhibition. In an interview on the MMA Hour, he accused Mayweather of avoiding a real fight, referencing the 2015 bout where he fought through a shoulder injury that he believes compromised his performance. For Pacquiao, a rematch is an opportunity to settle the score under better circumstances, while Mayweather's team seems more inclined toward an exhibition that would draw massive viewership without the physical toll of a professional fight. The boxing community is split on who would have the upper hand in a rematch. Supporters of Pacquiao, such as Hall of Fame trainer Nacho Beristain, argue that his relentless pace and toughness would overwhelm Mayweather at this stage. Beristain told Ring Observer that Pacquiao's pressure and high punch output could break through Mayweather's defensive wizardry, especially considering both fighters are now in their late 40s. This view is rooted in the belief that Pacquiao's aggressive style and physical durability have aged better than Mayweather's reliance on reflexes and footwork. Teofimo Lopez shares this optimism, pointing to Pacquiao's performance against Barrios as evidence of his enduring vitality. Lopez believes Pacquiao's determination and ability to close rounds strongly would pose a significant challenge to Mayweather, who has not faced a professional opponent since his 2017 fight against Conor McGregor. However, not everyone is convinced that Pacquiao would have the edge. Boxing veterans like Bernard Hopkins and Robert Guerrero, both of whom have faced Mayweather, lean toward Floyd in a potential rematch. Hopkins, speaking to Fight Hype, emphasized Mayweather's unmatched defensive skills, quick reflexes, and ability to control the pace of a fight. He argued that these attributes, which have made Mayweather nearly untouchable throughout his career, remain intact despite his age. Guerrero, who lost to Mayweather in 2013, echoed this sentiment, recalling how difficult it was to land clean shots against him. He described Mayweather's elusiveness and ring intelligence as qualities that would likely frustrate Pacquiao once again. Ricky Hatton, another former opponent of Mayweather, also picked Floyd to win, citing his ability to dictate the terms of a fight and neutralize aggressive opponents. Hatton acknowledged Pacquiao's explosive offense but maintained that Mayweather's cerebral approach would prevail, as it did in 2015. The debate over a potential rematch also touches on broader questions about the state of boxing and the motivations behind such high-profile fights. Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, expressed mixed feelings about Pacquiao's recent return to the ring. While he predicted a convincing win for Pacquiao against Barrios, he criticized the decision to grant him a title shot after a 4-year hiatus, calling it unfair to younger fighters who have been grinding their way up the ranks. Jeff suggested that Pacquiao's comeback, and by extension the push for a Mayweather rematch, is driven more by financial incentives than competitive purity. He described it as a money grab, a sentiment that resonates with critics who view these types of legacy fights as more about spectacle than sport. Yet, the potential for a Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch to generate massive revenue, potentially rivaling or surpassing other blockbuster events like Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson, cannot be ignored. The financial aspect is a significant factor in the discussions. The 2015 fight was one of the most lucrative in boxing history, generating hundreds of millions in revenue. A rematch, even a decade later, would likely draw similar attention, especially given the lingering questions about whether Pacquiao could have performed better under different circumstances. For fans, the allure lies in the chance to see if Pacquiao can defy the odds and dethrone Mayweather, who remains undefeated in his professional career. For the fighters, the stakes are different. Pacquiao seeks redemption and a chance to prove his doubters wrong, while Mayweather, ever the businessman, likely sees an opportunity to add to his legacy and bank account without risking his perfect record in a professional setting. The contrasting styles of the two fighters continue to fuel the debate. Pacquiao's relentless aggression and high punch volume have always been his trademarks, earning him titles in 8 weight divisions and a reputation as one of the most exciting fighters of his era. Mayweather, on the other hand, is the master of defense, using his footwork, timing, and ring IQ to neutralize opponents and win fights through precision rather than power. In their first encounter, Mayweather's strategy frustrated Pacquiao, who struggled to land significant shots as Floyd controlled the distance and pace. Critics of the fight, including Pacquiao himself, argued that it was a letdown for fans expecting a more action-packed affair. Pacquiao's claim of fighting through a shoulder injury added fuel to the narrative that the result might have been different under better conditions. As the speculation continues, the question of whether a rematch would be a sanctioned fight or an exhibition remains unresolved. Pacquiao's insistence on a professional bout reflects his competitive spirit and desire to prove himself against one of the greatest boxers of all time. Mayweather's reluctance to commit to a real fight, coupled with his history of participating in high-profile exhibitions, suggests he may prefer a less demanding format. The airport altercation, while brief, underscored the personal stakes involved, as both fighters are acutely aware of the narratives surrounding their rivalry. For Pacquiao, it's about reclaiming his legacy and silencing those who doubt his ability to compete at the highest level. For Mayweather, it's about maintaining his untouchable status while maximizing his earning potential. The voices within the boxing world reflect the complexity of the situation. Supporters of Pacquiao point to his heart, resilience, and ability to perform at an elite level even in his mid-40s. His performance against Barrios, while not a clear victory, showed flashes of the speed and power that made him a global star. Detractors, however, argue that Mayweather's defensive prowess and strategic brilliance remain unmatched, even as he approaches 50. The split opinions highlight the enduring appeal of this rivalry, which transcends the sport itself and taps into deeper questions about legacy, aging, and the pursuit of greatness. Ultimately, the path forward depends on whether the two sides can agree on the terms of a fight. Pacquiao's camp is pushing hard for a sanctioned bout, while Mayweather's team appears to be exploring options that align with his recent preference for exhibitions. The airport encounter may have been a catalyst, but it's the negotiations behind closed doors that will determine whether fans get to see a second chapter in this storied rivalry. For now, the boxing world watches and waits, divided yet captivated by the prospect of Mayweather versus Pacquiao 2.